Hey guys, Dr. Meathead here for another episode of Meathead Minutes. This week we'll be talking about being an educated consumer of science. This is something that's very close to my heart. It's something I think is very important because scientific studies are everywhere nowadays, be it on the internet, in the media, in documentaries like a particular one that has been causing a lot of controversy over the past couple of weeks. Where science is presented with an agenda. Now, there's always an agenda to any study being done. There is always that bias to the data to some degree, but knowing how to sift through that and discover which studies are good, which studies are bad, and what the studies are actually telling you is very important when trying to make decisions based off that data. So the first thing you always want to do when you're presented with scientific information, be it in the form of an article, a headline, a study, whatever, the first thing you want to do is look at it skeptically. Everything should be looked at through a lens of skepticism in the world of science. That's what the scientific method is based upon. So the first thing you want to do is, what is this study trying to accomplish, and what are they trying to get me to believe? Now, this isn't to be a conspiracy theorist, but you got to look at these things skeptically. Number two, what confounding variables are involved in this study? Now, what a confounding variable is something that influences the data outside of what is being measured, outside of a variable that is being applied to the data. And that can be as simple as a study on obesity where calorie intake of the patients is tracked, but the exercise and other aspects of their lifestyle are not tracked. So that can very much change the data if there's variability in that. So looking for confounding variables is always important when interpreting a study. Number two is looking at the significance of the study. Some things may be statistically significant, which has to do with p-values and things that I won't go into, but may not be clinically significant. So there may be a statistically significant difference between one food or another on paper, but when you apply it to a population level, it's not a clinically significant difference that actually will change outcomes in their lives. Those are the two biggest things I think are important and are simple and easy to apply that will help you understand what studies are trying to prove and which studies are worthwhile in reading. Now, this kind of leads into something else that I think is very important, which is spotting pseudoscience. Pseudoscience is even more rampant these days than all of the quote-unquote evidence-based gurus that you see online. And the best way to spot it is just to look at it skeptically once again. If something sounds too good to be true, it probably is. If something is making a wild claim that completely contradicts the overwhelming majority of the literature, it's probably nonsense. And if you have any type of understanding of physiology and the principles that they're applying don't make sense with physiology, they're probably wrong. Now, I won't go through each individual type of pseudoscience that's being put out there nowadays, but you can probably take a look at the physiology and understand why most of it is BS. I'm not going to belabor the point, but that's kind of a gist of how to be an educated consumer of science, and I hope that helps you guys sift through some of the studies that are presented nowadays. If you have any studies that you want me to take a look at, I'm happy to do so and answer some questions on those. Feel free to post them in the comments, and I will see you guys next week. Stay strong and healthy.